packed, and there wasn't any room to move. And Josh is looking a little nervous, Mike.
No, I'm never nervous. I'm excited.
That's all right.
So kind of, Mike, set us up there. You've been at Bakersfield a couple times this year, and you've seen some of the late models. Let's kind of talk about who's been doing what and what you think we're going to see at the Budweiser Nationals.
With the late models, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The cream always rises to the top. And recently it's been a whole lot of Steve Drake in the 11X, a whole lot of Clay Daly in the 32B. A couple new guys have been showing their faces in the late models. We've got Devin Crockett. He just won the super late model points championship at Santa Maria.
It's a talented young man right there. Say that again.
Devin Crockett. He won the super late model points in Santa Maria Raceway this year.
Very talented kid.
He's been looking really fast. You can't take anything away from the 91T of Tony Toast.
Absolutely not.
We just got actually done talking to Tony Toast on there.
Yeah, I know he's looking forward to this one. This is always one he puts on the calendar. And with him and Tim Douglas working behind the scenes on that vehicle, they're going to have something at that track.
So let me ask you, you just rattled off all those names, and I'm surprised you didn't mention the number 2H of Hogue. What have you seen from Bobby Hogue this year?
That's a sleeping giant this year. He hasn't been showing it too much at Santa Maria and Bakersfield. He's been keeping, under the radar as much as he can, but anytime you see either the red 2 or the black 2 or the white 2, whatever car he comes out with, if it's got his name on it, yeah, you're in for some serious racing.
So my next question is, because I'm new to this Bobby Hogue type deal, how many is this for Hogue there at Bakersfield?
I think he's won the Bud Nationals 6 times.
He's got enough guitars to open up a rental shop.
I think he's won it. Mike, let's get you working on that, because if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he's won it 6 times, and I might be wrong.
I believe it's 4 late models and 2 modifieds. I believe it's where he's at.
That's what I think.
Yeah, because he just added the Mike Mosier microphone.
Oh,
no
wow.
way!
He did win the Mosier Classic, didn't he?
He did in the modified, and I asked him. I said, "Are you going to try to find a track that is giving away a drum set so you can have the complete?"
That's awesome.
No kidding.
So there's racers, there's good racers, and then there's big money racers. And this event brings out those big money racers.
It does.
They are going to throw anything, everything, the kitchen sink, your mom's kitchen sink, everything they can at that track, because they want, they want that on their resume as being a Bud National champion.
And that's what we just talked about with Tony Toast. I don't know if you were listening or not, but we were talking about, last year at the Bud Nationals, we saw, I think, 26, 28 late models, which it was down from, past years, where we averaged, 42 to 50. But, it was 26 to 28, really, really good late models. There's no junk at that show. With Barnett's, you got the Barnett brothers, you've got, Crockett, Drake, you got all those guys. We had Gallardo come up. Jake Gallardo came up from New Mexico last year and had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
First time at the Bud Nationals. He brought some, again, top-notch equipment, show car quality stuff, big NASCAR-style hauler, like Mayo.
Oh, of course,
guys.
yeah.
But it's drawing guys from, clear down to New Mexico all the way from, Portland, Oregon.
It's one of with this race, the guys who are winning this race are going back east and running, and they're winning back east, and everybody's like, where are these guys coming from?
Right.
And they all look back and they go, oh, they're winning Bud Nationals. Well, maybe we need to go to that and prove ourselves there so we can be ready for what they're bringing when it comes time for them to come out our way.
So next question and stuff is competition level at Bakersfield for Bud Nationals. Lucas Oil Series?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. There's guys there that compete. Matter of fact, a couple of years back, Jason Papich in the 91P car, the late model. He's teammate with Tony Tost, ran the Bud Nationals, did very well in that. Got hooked up with some Lucas Oil modified and late model guys, went back east, and he's been running out there the past couple of years and been doing very, very well out there.
Well, last year, and we'll see him again this year, Matt Crafton, schedule permitting.
Yeah, a Tony Tost car.
3 years ago, we saw Earl Pearson Jr. in one of Tony Tost's car. We've seen Jesse Stovall, we've seen Randy Cordy, we've seen some pretty big names there at the Bud Nationals, and yeah, it's one of those deals where you don't know who's going to show up until you get there and see what's what.
Right. I would really like to see the Ken Shader and Kenny Wallace,
and
get
both
out of
of those
their
guys,
UMP cars and get back into an IMCA car and come out there and compete. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Wouldn't be surprised if it happened. It's just one of those deals where Mike will tell you don't know who's going to be there until they're there.
You're right.
It's kind of a who's who.
Yeah, and even Kenny Wallace, man, he to take up a little saying from one of my good friends here on the radio, he's nuttier than a squirrel turd, but he put on a great show on Facebook for everybody, and he's up front. He will stay from the time he shows up to his hauler till the very last fan leaves, signing autographs, talking, having a good time, and they see what's going on out here, and they're making their way west.
Well,
they're making that trek out here, and it's going eventually, probably sooner than later, this is going to be one of those premier events.
Nationally, on a national level. I mean, it's already a Western, West Coast premier event, but
we had actually Ken Wallace, a very good buddy of ours, come on the show, after his crash, and we talked safety. We talked about how the car handled, how his safety equipment, all that type of stuff. Those were some of the things, and then of course, then when Ken Schrader come up there to Sunset, we had the live interview and stuff with him there too. Both of those guys, are outstanding. I asked Ken Schrader, what would he be doing if he wasn't doing this? He'd be like,
I wouldn't be doing anything else. That's what I do.
He says, this is what I do. Mm-hmm. Same thing. Same thing with Wallace, but I mean, they're running the UMP cars, they're running, the back east and everything else, and then sometimes they have their, IMCA cars and they come out this way.
But I'll tell you something. I'll give credit where credit is due. Even those two guys, as good as they are, you show up to the Bud Nationals with a modified. Josh, I'll promise you this right now: you have never seen a modified field as strong as what you're going to see at the Bud Nationals. I mean, it's the modifieds. It's a heavyweight title fight. These guys show up and the gloves come off and it's go time.
I've been doing a lot of the research and stuff of some of the drivers.
By research,
back there.
Mike, he means he's watching YouTube.
Definitely watching a bunch of YouTube. YouTube is a great sponsorship for Moxie Media and Promotions and Northwest Dirt News. They provide some great detail of some information. Do want to give a big old shout out to the YouTubers that make that happen. But with that said, I've been doing a lot of watching, and like last year, was listening to Low Budget TV and watching their broadcast. It's go time from the time the green flag of hot laps. I mean, these guys are game face on, ready to go. I mean, it's not a big money purse, and I mean, we've been talking about that. But it's just nostalgic of having that on your resume.
Right. And, last year Mike and I worked the show together in the Mike Mosier Tower. An honor to sit in that tower and call the races. But
that's the biggest thing that I'm that's getting me.
It's one of those shows, and Mike will be the first to tell you, when that show starts from the time qualifying starts, and this is day 1 and day 2. From the time qualifying starts until the final checkered flag, there is not a second where there's not a race car on the track.
Yeah,
They'll go out and they'll run their heat race or their main event, whatever it is. They're running a heat race. They take the checkered flag. They go into turns 1 and 2. They slow it down the backstretch, cool it off through turns 3 and 4. They exit turn 1. The next race is rolling on in the middle of the backstretch.
Yeah, I saw that. That was the biggest thing. I thought they were just clip editing it, and that's how they're doing it.
It's just
they were ready to go.
Now the first year, and this is funny because Mike and I talked about this in the Mike Mosier Tower last year, was when Scott Schweitzer, the track owner, walked up and handed me an itinerary and says, "Here's the itinerary for today's races." And I looked at Mike, and Mike's kind of looking at me like, okay. And I look at it, and it says qualifying slated to start at, was it 4 o'clock, Mike? What time they start qualifying for that show?
Yeah, it was like 3:50 or something of that nature.
And qualifying runs till this, and then the first heat race rolls off at 6 o'clock, and then it'll run till 6:07. And the second heat race will start at 6:09, and it'll run that to 6:14 or 6:15, and then the next heat race, and then all the way through to the final checkered flag. I looked at Mike.
So it's that detailed?
No, yeah, absolutely. Now listen to this. I looked at Mike and I said, I think there was 162 cars there total last year, Mike.
Yeah, it was over 160 cars last year.
I looked at Mike and I said, there is no way you can have 160 plus cars here at this race and say we're going to run this race from this time to this time, and we're going to start here and we're going to finish here at 11 o'clock. I said, there's no way. There's too many variables in racing, caution flags and wrecks and red flags and who knows. We ended the races that night, scheduled to end at 11 o'clock.
10:58.
10:57.
Shut up.
They missed it by 3 minutes.
Shut up.
Yep, and we had red flags, we had caution.
We had all that.
All of it. And it goes. Bakersfield Speedway, their team behind the scenes is just on it from the get-go. From the time they clock in to the time they clock out,
it's go time.
It's go time. It's hammer down from beginning to end. And
No.
if you're not ready to go, you're left behind.
So is there any time to take a bathroom break?
Nope. No time to pee. No time. You better have somebody bringing you drinks. And I'll tell you, that's one thing I like about Bakersfield Speedway is, as an announcer, you sit in their stands and you call that show, and they know, hey, take care of those guys. You don't ask for anything. They're bringing you. They brought Mike and I are sitting there. And to me, it's kind of like it's weird.
Right.
For Mike and these guys up there, it's normal.
Right.
But we're sitting up there, and this girl walks in. She's got her Budweiser dress on, and she's I assume one of the Budweiser girls. If not, she did a pretty good job imitating what she, But Mike looks at me, and I look at her, and she hands us this tray, and it's got water and soda pop and lemonade, and it's got Gatorade, and any drink they had there, with the exception of alcohol, was set in front of us and said, "That's yours." We're like, I'm going, are you kidding me? They just bring us drinks. I'm gonna have to ask. And Mike goes, "Well, that's how they do it around here." And I'm going, what?
That's one of the luxuries there. The downfall is it was 110 degrees
all 3
the
days.
Whole time. So they were trying to feed us drinks as quick as we can get them just to stay hydrated.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Well, and the thing about it too, Scott Schweitzer, where we will sit in the Mike Mosier Tower, his personal tower sits to the next of us, and when we were out of drinks, Scott says, "Hey, I got a refrigerator in my booth. Come over, grab a drink." He's got a full refrigerator stacked with waters or whatever you want. Come over, grab what you want. Let's get out of my booth. These guys. It's a pretty cool deal. To go as an announcer, which we're behind the scenes. Typically, we're not those guys that are special by any means,
right?
And we're not,
right?
But over there, you sure.
We're just glorified.
Yeah,
exactly. We're nobody. Come on, anybody can do this job.
But
right?
It's weird too because when you walk in the Moxie Tower at your place, that Sunset, or I walk in the Moxie Tower at Willamette, you just walk in.
Yeah.
No, not up there at the Mike Mosier Tower. You got to walk in, you got to type in a little code, the gate. You got to get in. It's all gated off, and it's kind of a weird deal. It's cool though. It's a great facility. It's a great race. A great people. The whole staff.
Damn.
Yeah, I think Mike.
I wish we had that at my place,
Mike,
because I'll tell you what.
Josh,
I love.
Now, don't get me wrong, and don't get it twisted. When I came up in July to Willamette Speedway,
you wish you had that fence too, didn't you?
No, I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I had kids coming up to me asking me for autographs, and that shocked the heck out of me. I'm just a California boy who announces races and talks. But people up there, with what you guys have implanted up there with Moxie Media, you guys are celebrities up there. Don't get it wrong.
I don't know about that, but
hey, what was that? What did you call?